Don't try and compete and be number one on the leaderboard. Make the leaderboard irrelevant. There's no discussion. There's no conversation. One of them is a winner. One of them is a competitor. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Cabin Checks. I'm your host, Brandon Burns, and forgive my voice today, y'all. My voice is a little scratchy. It's a little off. I'm not going to say the word because I don't want YouTube to flag this, but that virus thing that came out in 2019, I got hit with it. And I catch the new strain every year, like I get a new iPhone every year. For whatever reason, I'm super susceptible to it. It's my fourth time having it in 4 years. I'm fine. Everything's good. It's not that big of a deal. But I have been quarantined in my office for the last 4 or 5 days, and it also affects my voice a little bit. So forgive me, but we still got to get this thing done anyway. We still got to record. We still got to make sure that these messages get out there. If this brings value to you, by the way, make sure that you share this with somebody else. That's how this thing grows, and I need your help to do it. So help me out. All right, with that being said, this is a topic today that I think affects a lot of young professionals. All right, and when I say young professionals, young could mean young in a new career. It could be young in a new path, a new calling in life, or it could just mean by age, young, right? And professional, I'm talking to anybody who, I shouldn't even really say the word professional. It's just really anybody who is trying to articulate their value in a particular field, right? Even a student, and you're applying to a school, right? If you're applying for college, applying for a postgraduate degree, anything like that, and you have to do those interviews, right? And you have to articulate your value and why somebody should accept you into the school. This is going to be for you. If you're a professional, if you're a salesperson, a speaker, a coach, a consultant, and you're selling yourself, you're an entrepreneur, you're selling your products, your services, this is for you as well, because you have to, in those sorts of roles, you have to be able to articulate your value in a way that is genuine, authentic, and allows people to connect with you. And I've been kind of beating around the bush with the problem here. Here's the challenge that I see so many people have, right? You have a spirit of desperation. And when you speak to people, that spirit of desperation is very clear. Like humans, for whatever reason, we just have this gift of discernment, like all of us, right? It's very easy for us to tell when somebody is disingenuous or when somebody's just kind of off about them, right? It's super easy for us to tell. And the challenge is many of us, because we want things so bad, we come off with a spirit of just, I gotta have it. And it makes you seem desperate, right? It makes you seem like you're trying too hard. You're clawing and scratching to articulate your value, when in reality, if you could just word it a little bit differently, you'd be okay. So let me give you a quick example. And now, to hide the identity of this individual, I won't give you the location or anything like that, but when I'm on the road with ET, people come up to us. It's almost like when an up and coming rapper is trying to pitch you on their new mixtape, right? Like people will go up to ET and tell him, hey, I'm the next big thing. I'm gonna blow up. I'm gonna be just like you. I'm gonna take your spot, right? And then people come to me and they're like, hey, give me the best practices. Like, tell me what you know from being around him. Like, talk to me about the inside knowledge of the industry. Like, what's this look like, right? How do I get there? And first and foremost, just by the way, as a bonus tip, people enjoy those conversations when they are genuine and you're just trying to get wisdom or advice. Like, people love to talk about themselves, and people love to talk about the things that they're passionate about and have been successful at. So if you go to somebody, whatever the field is, like whatever your industry is, if you go to somebody who's high up on the ladder and you just ask them some genuine questions and you're respectful about it and you give them their flowers, and then you just want to, like, you just have some genuine, curious questions, almost everybody is willing to talk to you and give you some advice, right? The place where people go wrong is they try and get something from those people. They try and get an opportunity, and they sell themselves a little too hard. And then you got to understand, those people, they get pitched to, hey, I want to come work for you. Hey, I want to come do this for you. They get pitched that every single day, multiple times a day. So we are and I say we, not to put myself in the same category as ET by any stretch of the imagination, but I say we because I'm kind of his gatekeeper, and so I field a lot of these requests. So that's why I say that. But we, or just anybody in that position, we kind of have a default answer of no. We have a default guard that's put up just to protect, what we have that is so solid. Like, we know we're in unity. We know we're on the same path. We know that we have a similar mission, values, culture, etc. And so we really got to protect that. And so the default answer is no new friends. right? No new friends. Get out of here. And so as soon as we hear that alarm go off of I'm trying to take something from you, I'm trying to get something, I'm desperately scratching for an opportunity, it's like, okay, you're desperate, you're doing too much, get out of here, right? But if it's a genuine conversation, you're just curious, you want some help, almost everybody's gonna be willing to give that to you. So that's not the subject of this video. That is a quick aside. But the reason that I bring that up is because an individual approached us while we were out at one of these gigs, and it was actually somebody that we knew already, and they were trying to talk about their value as a speaker, right? They were an up-and-coming speaker, and they were talking to us about, well, here's what makes me different, here's what makes me so amazing, here's what makes this presentation and this speech so good, here's why people should hire me, here's this, here's that, here's this. And I can't quite put into words why, but that spirit of desperation was so clear, because in my head the entire time I'm thinking about E.T., I'm thinking about Inky Johnson, I'm thinking about like all these other people that I've been blessed to be around, and the people who are at the very top of the industry, like top of the industry. And I've never heard them talk like that. I've never heard them say, here's what makes me different. I've never heard them articulate publicly, here's why you should hire me over somebody. They just do what they do, and they're so good at it. They're so good at it that there's not a question. Like, they just walk in the room and they're like, oh, that's them. And the reason I'm bringing this up has nothing to do with professional success, has nothing to do with your career, has nothing to do with that. The reason I'm bringing this up is because there is a distinct difference in mentality between those two people. You got to hear what I'm telling you on this. There's a distinct difference in the way that those two categories of people think, and it's what makes one of those people a winner and what makes the other one a competitor. I need you to hear that. One of them is a winner, one of them is a competitor. So think about it this way. This is just honesty. This is not anything against anybody. It's just honesty, right? Gymnastics. You show up at a competition. Simone Biles is competing there. It ain't a competition. She's going to win, period. There's no question. Like, she's going to win. It just is what it is. Everybody else is competing for second place. They all have to compete. She just has to be herself. One of them is a winner, one of them is a competitor. Let's talk about E.T. Somebody asked me the other day, I know you work for E and all that, but like, for real, who do you think the best motivational speaker in the world is? I was like, E.T. with no questions asked. They were like, really? You're not just saying that because you're his agent? I was like, no, really. I saw him, and again, I gotta be careful to not give up identities here because it could be offensive to people, but I saw him at an event with the best, most renowned speakers in the world. All of them, huge names that you would know. Biggest names in the speaking industry. I saw him at an event with all of them. A few of them went first in the day. E.T. went. They had to stop the event. This is back to back with the other best speakers in the world. E.T. goes on stage. They had to stop the event. They had people on the floor crying. That when you talk about transformation, when you talk about being able to touch people, when you talk about just making an impact from stage, when you talk about being able to move people, for real, E.T. all day long. They had to stop the event. Talking about we're gonna take a lunch break at 9:30 in the morning. Ain't no damn lunch break. You gotta get your people together. They're on the floor crying. It's not a lunch break. All right. E.T. came in there, messed your whole event up, right? He's just that good. He doesn't have to compete with all those other people that are on that top 10 list. He doesn't have to compete with them because he's just that good, right? So what's this mental difference that I'm trying to allude to that I've been talking about indirectly this entire time? The difference between a winner, somebody who dominates, and somebody who is a competitor. I keep seeing these videos from these macho men, especially these like manosphere red pill influencers, right? I keep seeing these videos talking about if you're gonna be a man, you gotta compete. If you're gonna win, you gotta compete, right? And this is not just a video targeted towards men. This is for anybody, but I just see it come up in that environment the most. But this whole philosophy of compete. I don't think that's the right way to think. I want to be so good at what I do that I elevate above this whole idea of competition. Why should I have to compete? If I feel like I get to compete with you, that means I put myself in the same bracket, the same category as you. That doesn't make sense to me. I should be above that. I should elevate and be so good at what I do that there is no competition, that I am one of one and there's no discussion about it. That's the level that I want to get to. That's the level in whatever it is that you do. I don't care if you sing. I don't care if you speak. I don't care if you coach, you're a business person, you're an entrepreneur, whatever it is that you're a student, whatever it is that you do, you should try and get to a point. Don't try and compete and be number one on the leaderboard. Make the leaderboard irrelevant. Stop trying to get to the top of the leaderboard. Start trying to make the leaderboard irrelevant. When you walk in the room, there's no discussion. There's no conversation. I'm the best. I'm here to win. You're here to compete for second place. You compete all day long. You can be all macho man. Oh, I'm going to compete. You go compete. I'm just going to win. I'm just going to be dominant. I'm just going to walk in here understanding that this is what it is. I am going to leave a winner, and you have absolutely nothing that you can do about it. When you get to that point, and I'm not saying that that's just a mentality, I'm saying it starts as a mentality, and then it has to progress into a skill set, and then you have to have proof that you are that good. Again, Simone Biles. Everybody else competes for second place. It's not a discussion. She shows up, she wins, period. But you have to back that up, that mentality, that GOAT mentality, you have to back that up with actual performance, right? But I'm telling you, you're never going to get that level of performance as long as you're focused on competing. Because why? When you focus on competing, you focus on other people's standards. You focus on other people's levels of excellence. You focus on other people's opinions. You focus on other people's performance, because all you're trying to do is outdo them rather than try and be the absolute best that you can be. So put the blinders on, right? And just figure out, how good could I get? Exercise some vision for yourself. Like, how good could you get? How much more potential could you actualize in every aspect of your life? When you get to that point, you have that vision of, you know what, I'm gonna be the best. From there, you start putting that into practice every single day. Every day means every day. You start working toward the skill set. You start taking that potential, turning it into something tangible. And you do that over a long enough time period. And eventually that mentality of, I don't want to compete, I just want to be me and be so good at it that it's not even a discussion. It's not even a competition. This competition is irrelevant. Eventually, I'm not saying everybody's there, but I am saying you're going to be a whole lot better served that way than this whole compete mentality. That's my opinion. That's one man's opinion. I think it's the right opinion, but you know, I'm just a guy on YouTube. I hope you found this motivational. I hope you found this helpful. I hope you found it practical. If you did find value from this, please do me a huge favor. Share this with somebody else that you think would get value from it and that you think needs to hear it. Like I said earlier, that's the only way that this thing grows. I appreciate you for listening. Make sure to follow us on all the other social platforms at IMBBurns on everything. Comment, like, subscribe, all the YouTube things. I'll see you on the next episode of Cabin Checks. Appreciate y'all. Peace.